Texans, huh?
Hey, I don't want to hear it from a guy who's half his fan base is Swifties.
Oh my God, we did it!
My dick is big, my dick is wide, my dick is huge.
That's right. Super Bowl, here we come.
So you're saying there's a chance?
We're ready to tear this baby up. Why? Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome to our Week 4 Progress Report edition of the Trajan Temple Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic, Christian Temple, joined alongside, as always, by the not so much terrible towel twirling, but more like making a statement, Pittsburgh Steeler fan Trajan here, and as you can already see on your screen there too, his his point is very clear. He wants someone canned, and he wants it now.
I do. I mean, yesterday would have been great, but I'll get into all that later.
Oh, absolutely, we will. Oh, we've got a lot to get into this week, so buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a fun one for you here. It's the return of I don't want to talk about it. You know, I almost forgot which button it was to press for that screen. We've been just doing so good these last couple weeks. I tell you what.
We have.
Um, but starting off, we have the Sunday night primetime matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Jets. And one of the main storylines going into this game was tragically taken from us in the very first week of the season with the injury to Aaron Rodgers, who reports are now starting to come out. He wants to play again, maybe later this season, and obviously
Make it to the playoffs.
could make it to the playoffs. Might get that opportunity. We still wish him the best in his recovery, and who knows, that may be the case. But as the score you saw there, Kansas City didn't really have so much of a dominating performance against the New York Jets. They did the first quarter. First quarter was amazing. I mean, good God, that was a very fun quarter of football to watch. You got 17 unanswered points in the first quarter, and then obviously the referees must have realized, oh yeah, we got to keep the spread close. So here came the first flag. Oh, by the way, I have the actual flag that was thrown at the Jets Chiefs game. It's right here in my hand. Don't question it. It truly is. But the first flag goes up, right? A face mask in the end zone, or so they thought. So they thought. It was technically at the 1 yard line. It carried into the end zone, but they call it a safety. 2 points for the Jets. Okay, yeah, no big deal. I mean, hey, our defense has been good. You know, get the free kick to them, and let's just force a 3-and-out, right? It shouldn't be any problem. And then flag number 2 shows up, and it was easily the worst horse collar tackle call I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, he grabbed the jersey. I don't even know if his hand got in his jersey. It was on the front of his jersey, not inside the shoulder pad, not on the back of his shoulder pad pulling him backwards. It was on his jersey. And it gives them another first down, keeps the drive alive. They go down, and they get another touchdown. And then there's a field goal. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's tied. What is going on here, guys? I know what you're going to talk about, and I'll speak of it now. Pat Mahomes did not have a good game. He did. He was not himself this game. 2 interceptions. The first one, it was on a first down. He really should have just threw it away. He tried to force it to, I think it was Noah Gray he was trying to force it to on that one, who actually, Noah Gray, dibs on it. Congrats to him. He was the one that caught Pat Mahomes' 200th regular season touchdown, so kudos to him. Mahomes tries to find him again. Tight coverage, easy interception. I believe that one was by C.J. Mosley. Go on to later on, Chiefs, start to drive down the field. For halftime, maybe a chance to get some points on the board before halftime. He throws it, chucks it down the field, and it was a duck. I mean, that way the ball was flailing around, easily picked off by the Jets, and just, oh god, that was frustrating. But oh god. Then the second half happened. But I'll step aside for a second. I'll let you give your thoughts on the events that took place in the first half.
So to be honest with you, I turned off football that day, and then I got a text that you guys could be blowing it, and that made me interested in football again. And so I did not watch the first half. I watched the second half.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you for those insightful words. I actually totally forgot. I forgot that it was a pretty rough day, and you were not interested in watching any more football afterwards, too. And actually, little spoiler ahead, too, he wasn't interested in watching football before the clock hit 0 for his game, but we'll get to that momentarily. Second half, we can absolutely get nothing going. Oh, also there was a doink I forgot. There was a doink, by the way, by the Jets field goal kicker. So at least we had a little bit of everything in the game, but that was before the second half. The offense was pretty flaccid. It was once again a scenario where it's like, do we just forget that Isaiah Pacheco is on our team, especially after he just had a 48-yard touchdown run? Are you kidding me right now? But unfortunately, our receiving core is far from elite, so that set things back. Our offensive line, for better or for worse, was constantly more flags. I dropped it this time.
I mean, who would have known those guys would have done flags, though?
Oh, my goodness, right? Exactly. We'll get to that in just a moment. Jawan Taylor, again, not a great performance on his part. And the surprising one for me was Trey Smith. Trey Smith had a couple penalties go against him, too. But, you know, it was a combination of our offensive line was not gelling this game, and it was, I would say, more on the Jets' defense. I mean, we've talked about it, you know, even in the offseason. The Jets' defense is legit. I don't think there's anyone that would doubt that. Their pass rush is solid. Their secondary has really come into form. They, like I said, I'll be the first to admit the Chiefs don't have an elite receiving core. So the fact that secondary for the Jets was able to keep them contained, I mean, I'm sure they had more of a challenge if they played like the Buffalo Bills receivers or maybe the Cincinnati Bengals receivers. But yeah, their defense is. Their defense is legit. I've got to give it to them. But we kept shooting ourselves in the foot, which brings us to the fourth quarter. And the first true mistake of the second half that the New York Jets made was the mishandling of the snap by Zach Wilson that led to a fumble recovery by Trajan Wharton. The defense once again stepping up big time, and then we get to the drama here. Oh my goodness, boy, is that... All right, so first we get a long run by Pat Mahomes that gets called back for holding. There goes the flag there again. So we get down to 3rd and 26. And this is one that Jets fans wish there was a flag thrown here too. But there was what people call a very blatant hold. I think it was on Jermaine Johnson, or whoever the Chiefs player was holding Jermaine Johnson, I think, on that run too. At the same time, yes, there was a defensive holding call that was called on the Jets on that same play. But Mahomes, 26-yard run, gets the first down, and then here we go. We've got another 3rd and long, another flag for holding on the Chiefs, setting up another 3rd and long. And this was the big one. This was the one that I saw all over Facebook, all over YouTube, all over Instagram. I mean, it was everywhere. Sauce Gardner. And what was funny is that when they called the flag, they called it on Jermaine Johnson because they said number 11 instead of number 1. It was actually Sauce Gardner number 1. Sauce Gardner with the hold on Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And I will say this. I don't necessarily agree with the foul being called holding. If anything, it was illegal contact that did affect his route on that pass. That is my true feelings on that. What the biggest thing, or one of the other bigger points that people made, was that the referee waited until after the pass was intercepted, which would have been for the third time, before he threw the flag. Here's the deal. The foul happened almost exactly the same time. It was like a second and a half difference there too. So he was trying, he see his hand was close to his side at that point too, reaching for it. I don't believe that he just waited until it was an interception to decide to throw the flag. He was looking right at what happened. He saw what happened and his decision was made. He was going to throw the flag. It was, like I said, I don't think it was holding. It was at very least illegal contact, probably not even pass interference. You know, the yardage was probably correct. 5 yards, not spot foul. If it was a spot foul, then oh man, we would have heard a lot more about that too. But yes, the Chiefs get the first down. A couple runs there too, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that it was reported that tens of millions of dollars was involved when Mahomes ran for the first down and decided to slide, very wisely I might add, before crossing the goal line too.
Is it very wisely though? Because they would have been up 10 points.
Yes. You don't know what may happen. Anything can happen. Slide it down, you have control, kneel the ball out. That is the wise way of doing it. Even if it's 2 scores, I still think don't give them a chance. Even if it's the slimmest of chances, don't give them a chance. I wish Brandon Staley would probably learn something about that too, but that's another story. But yes, those were my thoughts. Ugly win. Not a statement win at all for Kansas City. Props to Zach Wilson. That was probably his best performance that he's had in, as far as I can remember. And outside of that fumbled snap, he had himself a solid game. You got to give him that. And it was pretty cool. I saw part of it during the live feed, but there were pictures of it afterwards. Good on his teammates for consoling him, because he took that hard. He really put that on himself, saying he was the one that cost them the game. And good on his teammates for being there for him and consoling him. And if the Jets can play like that for the foreseeable future, then hey, they might have a shot to slip into the playoffs. Obviously, the Dolphins and Bills are going to make that tougher on them, and we'll talk about that later. But that was probably one of their best performances, even in a loss for the Jets.
Yep. But are you at all nervous about your team at this point?
Absolutely.
Because that was pretty scary if you're a Chiefs fan. I loved it. I didn't get the exact ending I wanted, but still. I mean, I don't think the refs are necessarily wanting the Chiefs to win. I just think that there's been a tendency in these last few years where the refs are making calls on stuff that normally first, second, third quarter, they're probably going to let go. They're making calls at the end of these games that are deciding it. It kind of ruins it a little bit. Now, I would get if he knocked him down or if it was blatantly holding him up and stuff. You make the flag, but Sauce Gardner said that and receiver kind of ran into him. I mean, there's a little shove that always happens. He tried to position it back around to get into there, and that's where it came at. Let these guys play. There's so much offense heavy on this games. The wide receivers get so much protection. Mm-hmm. You got to give the defensive back. I mean, that is a hard position to play. I mean, you don't know the route. You got to keep up with this guy, see what his moves are, and change just like that. You got to give him something, or else it's just almost why even cover? Why even do press cover at this point? You want to just go to zone defenses the whole time?
I saw that someone make this point too, and actually, when we talk about the Eagles, we might bring this up too. But it's interesting that the tush push, something like that, is favored for offensive teams. But and you could probably test this last year, leverage or defensive guys pushing the back of each other too, that is like just off the table completely. That's automatically 15 yards for a defense. Yeah. But no, I totally agree with you on the fact that, oh yeah, it is definitely an offensive heavy, or offensively favored league now too. And I will agree to your point too. I think they should let them play some too. The counterpoint that some people might make too is, if it's a penalty, shouldn't it be called all the time? With the technology that we have, shouldn't all penalties be enforced, no matter if it's crunch time or whether it's a 1-point game or a 30-point game? But all the players want, and really all the fans want, and I can attest to this too, is consistency.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's all any of us really want. And no, obviously there's the crazy people out there too that truly believe that the league is rigged. The refs are in on it too. It's like, oh my gosh, people, go touch grass, go outside, do something instead of getting your attention online saying that everything is against your team. Seriously.
Exactly.
Seriously. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, I mentioned to you too, like even Jason Kelsey getting on his podcast and saying, it's like, look, there isn't a conspiracy with the referees against these teams. It's like, just let it go. And he, if anything, if he had a gripe to say about that, would be last year's Super Bowl, where his team got called for the holding in the most critical point of the game. But he brushed that off even the week or a few days after the Super Bowl even happened too. And that's probably when it'd be freshest in his mind, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And I can believe me, it's in my memory bank. I haven't forgotten. There are at least a dozen times where I thought, why were we calling this flag at this point? Why wasn't this called earlier against the Chiefs? Honestly. So it happens to every team. It really does. So
yeah.
I
just think it's consistency.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do it in the fourth quarter, make sure you're doing it in the first, second, and third.
Exactly.
If you're going to let them play the first, second, and third, don't call it in the fourth quarter, because then it just makes these an issue.
Absolutely. And it just makes the game less fun to watch too, because you can't even. I'll make this point too, because I follow Steve Dangle, and he brings up a good point. There was a lot of times in the NHL season, last few NHL seasons, where if a team scores a goal, you're almost afraid to celebrate, because you're just waiting for a coach's challenge. Something was wrong maybe 2 minutes beforehand that had nothing to do with the goal, but it still gets disallowed somehow. It's starting to become that scenario right there, where you're afraid to celebrate about anything, watching your team, enjoying the game, because something is going to be something stupid is going to negate a positive thing that happens, and you don't want to see that in every single game, because it's become more apparent, or it's more frequently. How about that? It seems like it's happening more frequently.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, alrighty. Well, have we stalled long enough? Have you? Are you think you're emotionally ready for the next part?
I guess so.
All right. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of I Don't Want to Talk About It. So, Trajan, the floor is yours. You are now welcome to start talking about it, and it might be good for you to talk about it.
Well, the Steelers played this last weekend, and it was pretty bad. We played the Texans, and yeah, I'm glad you like that. We made C.J. Stroud look like an MVP candidate, 16 for 30. He might be a Rookie of the Year. I will say, I will give him credit. He was playing very well before this. He's yet to have an interception. I was hoping we'd get the first interception. He's played some close games. He's scored a lot of points. So I think Houston Texans are finally trending in the right direction. I feel like maybe they paid for the crimes of Deshaun Watson. and are moving on. But let's just talk about the Steelers. And it was bad. So the first drive, they just went down and scored on us. It wasn't even a fight, but first drive, that's usually really scripted. They know what they're gonna do. You're kind of the defense is trying to see what they're gonna do. So I'll be okay with it. I was okay with it. We go out there, I believe it was 5 plays, and then we had to punt. And so I mean we got 5 plays out of it. We usually start out slow, so I'm like, okay, stop them. They drive down there again. And this is just it was starting to get worrisome there. They got a field goal out of it. So we ended up being down at half 16-0. We had the ball. Can't remember if we threw the interception or not. I don't want to remember this game, basically. I'm not going to go play by play. But still, recap here, though. Kenny Pickett, 15 for 23, 114 yards, 1 interception. Interception, I mean, he threw it up, tried to give Calvin Austin a chance. He kind of underthrew him, but Calvin Austin is really fast. So, I mean, he was quite a ways down there. It was just good coverage, double coverage. Should have probably went somewhere else, but he was giving his wide receiver an opportunity. And if I want big plays, those are going to happen sometimes. So I'll take that one. But just not confident with the ball. Of course, there's the now legendary 4th-and-1 play that he got injured on where we decided to go shotgun. And I just remember I was yelling at my phone at that point because I was outside watching the kiddos play. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't deserve this. I deserve better on my Sunday. I work all week. I get one day off. And I enjoy watching football. But this offense is just letting me down. Defense played terrible, but they're allowed one terrible game. Well, I guess 2. But, but it's just getting ridiculous at this point. Our offense doesn't seem like it. There's no fight in it. The play calls are basic. I mean, even the announcers are saying they know what's happening.
And it's not even Tony Romo.
It's not Tony Romo. It's the C team saying they know what's happening. Pointing out how predictable it is, how most of the time, if we do a screen, we have this exact same setup here. I mean, it'd be one thing if we were running all different plays out of that, and then we motion out of it and stuff like that to keep them off balance. But there's not a lot. I don't know where the blame is at this point. I want to say Fire Canada. Is that the true answer? I don't know. I think there's more of an issue here. I don't think it's just Matt Canada. I don't know if it goes as far as Tomlin or just our offense just doesn't have the fight that it used to. I mean, Steelers are known for aggressive smash mouth football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people get injured in the games, but it's a football game you want to see because guys are hitting each other. There might be some personal foul injury plays there, but it's old school smash mouth football where you could tell the players want it. And if you're going to fight us, you want it. You're going to have to want it too. And this team just hasn't seen it these last few years.
Killer instinct.
It's just not there. I mean, the only one that I could say has it is maybe on our defensive side is TJ Watt. I don't know about Alex Highsmith. He's getting there, but Minka, Cam Hayward, but he's out.
Mm-hmm.
But no one on our offense. I mean, Pickett, I don't know. He's just not reading the field good. He doesn't have that much time. He just doesn't look confident out there. And so I don't know if the answer is fire Matt Canada. Maybe give him another year under a different offensive coordinator, see what he does. But maybe Pickett's not even the answer. I don't have faith in anyone in this organization right now,
Hmm.
except TJ and Minka. Um, our rushing was once again. I mean, it started going, but it was just too late. They had the lead, they knew it, and so they were mostly playing the pass. So 14 carries for Najee, 71 yards, 23 was his long. Not too bad numbers. Jalen Warren had 8 for 29. So I mean, we did go over 100 there. Kenny Pickett, like I said, into the third quarter, he did get injured. So Trubisky came in. He was 3 for 5 for 18 yards in the fourth quarter. I mean, 18 yards in one whole quarter. That's all you can do.
Hmm.
I mean, come on. There was 3 pass attempts there. It should go farther. Um, yeah, George Pickens, he fumbled, but he stayed in bounds. Jalen Warren, he fumbled, but we were able to recover. Kenny uh, Pickett, he fumbled. We were able to recover. So it was just way back there. If we didn't get a penalty, it was a sack. And we're always playing third and long. It just seems like for forever, 3rd and 8 or longer. That's what we're always at, 3rd and 8 or longer. And
Mhm.
so I'm just depressed on football right now. I'm not looking forward to this. This is Ravens week. This is usually my favorite week. I'm the most nervous,
Mhm.
but I know it's going to be a good game. It's going to be 17-15 or something like that. And it's all going to come down to the end. And I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling AFC North football right now. Not liking it.
Not liking it at all. I totally understand that too. You mentioned Kenny Pickett being injured, and I guess if there was any positive coming out of that too, is that it was nothing serious.
He's
It's
already practicing.
it's not clear that he will for sure play all of next week. As we're recording right now, that could change, but at least he's back to practicing. Same with Fryermuth. It sounded like he avoided disaster with his injury as well too. So hope to see both of them back on the field fully healthy very soon. And yeah, it can't be soon enough, especially when you are going against the Baltimore Ravens, a team that had a very impressive showing against the Cleveland Browns this past week too. Another thing I noticed also, I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I was at the Renaissance Festival, but I did check in on the score every so often. Um, no sacks and no tackles for loss for the Steelers defense, which is definitely a huge red flag in a game like this against a team that hasn't really shown a whole lot, hasn't proven a whole lot. But as you mentioned, it seemed like they made C.J. Stroud look like a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, you would think they would have an amazing offensive line from this, but they did not. They were starting a rookie. They're banged up. There are backups on there. One of them is Green, who was on our team. We drafted him. We thought he was a bust.
Hmm.
We were thankful we got some value out of him. We didn't get a sack off of him.
Right.
And part of that I will attribute to he got the ball out fast. He made quick reads. We played soft coverage. He took what the defense gave him,
Mm-hmm.
and their wide receivers were able to make plays. I mean, we let Nico Collins have 168 yards on us. 168 yards. Uh, and that was a certain Levi Wallace's position that should have been covered, which he has been getting smoked. He's made it up with some interceptions, but I mean,
Feels
these
like
last,
he's lost a step, hasn't he?
yeah, my brother shared. Let's see if I can find this real quick. My brother
Oh.
shared this with me, which he's texting me this whole game. He's like, humiliating. It was. Um, I don't know. Maybe it was someplace else that I saw
So
this, but it's just bad. I mean, it's all around bad.
Well, you can only hope that it gets better. If it feels like rock bottom, then hopefully that means there's only one place to go up from here. So no. Maybe next week maybe every week the Steelers struggle. That sign in the background will just get a little bit bigger. The writing will get a little bit more bolded, and then maybe someday they'll get the picture. I told you this, that what they need to do is they need to get an airplane with a giant banner across the back of it. We deserve better. Fire Matt Canada, and maybe something will change there.
You don't know the Steeler way. His contract will expire at the end of the year. We're not going to change anything because the fans are saying it. It's just how it is. We're in for this ride. But like I said, I don't even know if Matt Canada is the issue at this point. I don't know. I mean, I think he's part of the issue. I take that back. He is an issue. But I think, star players would at least be able to make a few plays.
Mm-hmm.
Make it to where, these play calls are crappy, but, I can read my targets and there's a guy out there. Our star receivers, Pickens, he has the talent. Where's the separation? The guys are right on him. It's like he's not playing. Where is I want a contract at? Pat Freiermuth. He is getting close to a contract decision. Who wants their money? That's what I want to see. Who wants their money? And you know what? I would accept anyone at this point.
They've showed they will pay to the players that are deserving. Just ask T.J. Watt.
Yep.
If you are deserving, they will pay you. They finally showed the show they are willing to do that now too. Alrighty, well, that is the end of the return of I Don't Want to Talk About It. But now something that we do want to talk about here too. We are excited to bring back the TIERMAKER. The Week 4 progress report is here. We've got 5 categories, the same categories we've had for the last couple of years actually. We've got the Super Bowl, which obviously is the teams that we believe have a good shot at making the Super Bowl with how they've played so far. We've got playoff contenders. These are teams that are probably on the outside looking in, or they are maybe secured and all but a lock for making the playoffs. We've got the meh, who is, they're not terrible. They're not great. They're probably not good enough, but at least they're not, the bleh, which is just the teams that are, it's not looking good, and then trash where you just absolutely got no hope whatsoever. Just pack it in. Season's done. So we've got all 32 teams lined up here, and we will start with the New Orleans Saints, who it's kind of interesting because as long as they stay healthy, I think they're okay, but the way they played against the Buccaneers, it's not looking fantastic for them. When Derek Carr is in, I think they're okay. When Jameis Winston's in, it's not good at all. So that defense is okay. They got Kamara back now too. I'm thinking they're just meh. They're not quite blah, but I don't see them as a playoff team at this moment.
I'd agree.
Yeah. Then next we've got the Miami Dolphins, who is a very interesting story in themselves.
This one's tough because ask me week 3, Super Bowl all the way. That smackdown. Woo. Now, week 4, it was a divisional opponent, and it was at Bills. They kind of let me down there. So I'm going to say playoff team.
I would agree with that. I'd say they're still, their season isn't close to being in jeopardy yet. Their offense is still a very high-powered offense. Once they get Jalen Waddle back to 100%, along with Tyreek Hill, along with that running back core, and if Tua stays healthy, easily playoff contender in my opinion too. All right, a team that has just asserted themselves at the top of the AFC North. We've got the Baltimore Ravens, and if they play the way that they did against the Cleveland Browns consistently, even with the injury bug still kind of lingering at them, I see them at playoff contender as well.
I'd agree.
Yep. And next we've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who, oh boy, that's that's a nightmare and a half within itself.
I am going to say meh at this point
Wow.
because it's still early in the season. Now, they go out and they lose this week, they're going to be down to bleh. I'm not going to say trash because they still have the talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that Joe Burrow's injured. He isn't having that mobility that he usually has in it, causing him probably not to play as confident as he usually would. But I mean, they're circling down the drain right now. I mean, when your wide receiver, your number one wide receiver, is starting to get ticked, there's going to be some fingers pointed in the room. Thank God we're not as bad as the Bengals right now. That's all I have to say.
Historically, that never ends up well when the top receiver is not happy with his targeting or with his amount of targets. But I think I agree with you. I was kind of leaning more towards bleh, but I see your point and I kind of agree. It is early still. What was it last year that they started 0-2 and they still made it to the AFC Championship game? So there's still some time. With Joe Burrow playing injured, though, that's kind of making things a little more interesting than it needs to be over there in Cincy world. But this next team, and I'm sure they'll probably throw it back in my face against my team anytime soon, but just the fact they were 0-3, they got 70 points scored on them, and they almost lost to the Chicago Bears. Denver Broncos, straight trash. Easily straight trash right now. There is hardly any redeeming qualities left of them. I mean, for God's sakes, they dropped $70 million for Randy Gregory, and they just cut him today. He's gone. So they're going to have to eat up that dead cap. Yes. Yeah, they cut him today, straight up.
Did not see that.
Yes. He is gone. Speaking of gone, might be the hopes and dreams of Giants fans, and if you listen closely, you might still hear Daniel Jones being sacked at this moment.
A lot of people are saying Daniel Jones is not the guy, and which I would have agreed before they signed the contract. He was not the guy, but that game wasn't completely on him. I mean, you're under pressure that much, you're trying to make a play, and you're getting sacked that many times. No one's going to play good. Mahomes isn't going to play good if he's getting sacked that many times. Tom Brady wouldn't have played good. None of the greats would have played good if their offensive line is performing that way. I mean, what do you want him to do? I'm going to say bleh. I'm not going to say trash because they were a playoff team last year. They lost an injury there. They could get him back. But if I'm Saquon, I'm sitting out the rest of the year, and I'm saying, hey, look at the record you had without me. Look at the record you had with me. Time to pay me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't think that case or that game, it shows the whole story with the New York Giants. It does show that their offensive line needs some work, and if you think Daniel Jones is worth that much money, you better protect him like he's worth that much money. Going up to the NFC North. I about said AFC North. We're going to the NFC North. We got the Minnesota Vikings, who will be taking on my Kansas City Chiefs this coming Sunday. This is very interesting because last year we saw it. So many close games that they were the benefactors of, and now it's just become the total opposite. So many close games that they've just not been able to take advantage of. I'm gonna say they are definitely not trash. I will say bleh right now only because of how they lost. Yes, they did beat the Panthers, but honestly the Panthers are just, they're still trying to find an identity right now. Bryce Young is not living up to the hype, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of help right now. So I'm saying Vikings. We'll see how it goes going the rest of the year. Maybe they can turn around. I'm sticking with bleh on there. And then we've got a team that is also dealing with some controversy of their own in the AFC West, and it's the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, did you see the video of the fans and the owner? Over Mike McDaniels. Oh my gosh! If you haven't seen it, guys,
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels.
I know
yeah. If you haven't seen it, go watch
Oh,
I've never seen. I don't know why an owner's set in an open booth. Anyways, that's just
the,
asking
just the
for it.
stone face he had on there too. Just like, oh man.
Yelling back at the fans. I'm sorry. That's who makes your paycheck. If they're not happy, uh, let's face it. The Raiders they used to be a good team, and this last 2 decades have just been the bottom.
hmm
They've had a few good years, but they've been a doormat team, and maybe he needs to listen to the fans a little bit. Shouldn't have even hired him in the first place.
So we're probably both thinking blah. That's about where
Oh,
that's about where I had them at too. Obviously with the
I'm
loss.
leaning towards trash.
Well, I'll only give them this pass because they're dealing with the drama of the Chandler Jones situation. They're also Jimmy Garoppolo
G's
being
out.
out and having to throw in a rookie quarterback. Believe me, if it was Jimmy G this whole time playing and being responsible for that, straight trash because the Denver Broncos have no excuse. Because Russell Wilson has been playing every single game for them. But the Raiders, I will give them this past one time they had to have Aiden O'Connell step in. So we'll keep them at blah, but that could change.
Yeah.
They could very well end up in trash by week 8. Speaking of a team that we thought might be trash, but actually isn't doing that bad, all things considered. We've got the L.A. Rams, who have kind of asserted themselves as, maybe not quite a playoff contender just by the competition there, but they are still competitive even with the teams that they've faced so far. I'm thinking if Matt Stafford stays healthy, obviously he had a little bit of a scare with the hip injury this past week. I'll put them at meh right now. And I honestly, if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year if I would have thought they'd been meh probably about this time, I probably wouldn't have thought so.
Okay. No.
So, then moving on back to the NFC South. It is the leaders of the NFC South, the Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm saying it right now. Playoffs. I think
gotta have someone from the South.
Good. Yeah. Who's it gonna be?
Yeah, I was gonna say if that defense plays as well against the Saints, and if that offense can figure out some stuff, obviously got to keep an eye on the Mike Evans situation as he is undergoing an MRI as we speak. So we'll see. Which I hope he's doing okay because he's on my fantasy team. So get well soon, Mike Evans. At least he'll have the bye week to maybe get rest and recuperated. I agree. I really thought the Saints would be the team to beat, and that could change. But so far, Buccaneers, so far so good.
Yeah.
Speaking of so far so good, let's talk about the leaders of the NFC North. The Detroit Lions. They're biting kneecaps. They're punching faces. Dominating performance against the Green Bay Packers. And if you needed any indication that the Lions are here, just check the stands at Lambeau Field. Holy smokes. Jared Goff playing very well. Defense doing very well as well. David Montgomery, a fantasy machine. So I'm sorry, I had to toss that in there too. I've got them playoff contender. I believe it was me that said they would be the wild card representative of the NFC North with the Vikings taking the division. Might have to flip-flop it. Might be the Lions taking the division, and if the Vikings figure it out, maybe they're the wild card. But yeah, Detroit, doing good so far. I think this next one will be an easy one for you. It's the Chicago Bears.
They're playoff.
I'm thinking Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. It's just so sad for them. I mean, yeah, it's trash. I'm sorry.
Oh, easily, and they're right next to the team that they're in the trash right next to the team that surrendered 28 points to them in the first half, and they still found a way to come back and win. So both teams, both teams their own right had their own little tank bowl in the fourth week of the season. I mean, good God, that's pretty darn early to be.
Someone wants Caleb Williams.
Absolutely. Well, I believe we have now reached our first true Super Bowl contender, and if they keep playing the way that they've been playing, it is very easy to see why I think that. It is the San Francisco 49ers. The defense is awesome. The passing game is awesome. Brock Purdy, not Mr. Irrelevant anymore. He's very relevant in this, and run CMC. What a performance this past week against the Arizona Cardinals. Not saying the Cardinals are, something to be really, unless you're a Cowboys fan, really to be scared of.
Cowboys.
But the Cardinals have gotten the reputation of being a very chippy team. So 49ers, yeah, easily Super Bowl contender in my opinion, representing the NFC. Although this next team, and you'll probably give us a few good reasons why. This next team might give them a good run for their money, too, even though it's a little bit of a scare against the Commanders. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles.
Just stacking wins. 4-0, another 4-0 team. The Eagles, it feels like they're built for a push again. The 49ers, it just always seems like they're just one bad injury away from having a okay season, and I hope they're over that. I don't wish that on any team, but I don't know. It's going to be a good battle. Hopefully, both teams are healthy this year, because the Eagles' defense can put it on when they need to. So can the 49ers' defense. Thing that I just don't know about is every game that the 49ers won, Purdy doesn't have to do a lot. Their run game does it for him. Christian McCaffrey does it for him. There's some heroics by Deebo Samuel, who takes a 10-yard pass and makes it a 100-yard game or whatever. It's... I haven't seen Purdy go out and win it. And that's what I want to see. I've seen Hurts go out and win it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Purdy, so... So I had the 49ers Bills as the Super Bowl team. Right now, just off of our tier maker, it's as of right now, who's hotter. I'm going to go Eagles playoffs and the 49ers the Super Bowl.
Very good. And we will definitely see the only two teams left that are undefeated come week 8. Maybe that'll change, or maybe both teams will be 8-0. You never know. I don't think they play each other between now and then.
I don't think so.
We'll have to check on that too, but who knows? We'll know something, I'm sure, by week 8. All right, a team that was
they do play.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, week 8.
Oh baby, all righty. So there you go. That could be the determining factor of if the 49ers stay on top of our list, or if the Eagles will usurp them. Although, I guess, as you mentioned, the 49ers are possibly one or two injuries away from falling apart. Eagles, I mean, yeah, they had that scare against Washington, so we shall see if maybe that will something that affects them, or if they'll bounce back from that.
Correction, week 13.
Week 13. Ah, darn. So it'll be after week 12. The week 12 progress report, we'll find out. Okay. Oh, well, that'll still be a fun game to watch no matter what. Next is a team that is very not overwhelming or underwhelming. It's just whelmed. It's very meh. I would give the Green Bay Packers the meh category. Jordan Love, he's kind of eh. Defense, it's kind of eh. The running game, kind of eh. The receivers, kind of eh. So... The loss to Detroit, we'll see how demoralizing that is in the long run. I don't think the Packers are Blair trash yet, but as of right now, very clearly the division belongs to Detroit if things stay the same. And then we've got the Washington Commanders that, as we mentioned, took the NFC champs to the limit, took them to overtime. I really wish Rod Rivera would have went for 2 on that touchdown. That would have been hilarious. But the Washington Commanders, what you got for them?
Meh.
I
mean, it's just, they're a good team. They'll make you earn it, but they're not a playoff team yet.
They would need some things to go right, I think, because right now the competition's the Eagles and the Cowboys easily right now. But all right. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, here's the team that the Cowboys really don't like anymore. It is the Arizona Cardinals, and beginning of the year probably would have had them in trash, but that win and the fact that they're showing resolve in most of these games, I'll keep them at bleh for now. We'll see if they keep going up. Josh Dobbs, not elite, but I mean he hasn't laid over and died like everyone expected the Cardinals to do so. So I'll give them bleh for now.
Plus, both of us are hoping that they beat the Bengals this week. Send them to 1-4. That'd be great.
Absolutely. If they do that, I don't care what happens afterwards. Cardinals going to meh. Alrighty. Well, now's the fun part. This is what you paid your money for, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers. It is time. Cliff Trajan, you are the judge, jury, and executioner. What you got for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
They're bleh.
Wow. Okay.
They would be possible playoff contenders if that happened.
Here's your sign.
But I haven't seen, as of right now, on this tier maker, I'm hoping I'm wrong. They're bleh.
Bleh. I understand that entirely. It's after that last performance, it's, as you mentioned, you're not as excited to watch them as you normally would be. Hey, who knows? Maybe next week is the true bounce back game that they needed. They take care of business against Baltimore, but I can understand your faith being in question of your team the way things went against the Texans. So only time will tell if things will improve or, God forbid, get worse. I don't wish that upon you, but you never know.
9-8. That's probably where we're at.
Well, we did bring up that the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, we believe, will be the 49ers. As much as I'd love it for me to my team, the way this team is looking right now, offense and defense, the Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Man, that was a statement win against the Miami Dolphins, who stomped an absolute mud hole in the Denver Broncos the previous week. It wasn't close after the third quarter with the Bills and Dolphins, and it's sad. Tre'Davious White being out for the year with another injury. That's the second time that's happened to him. So our best wishes to him. We hope he does, if he is able to make it back into the league. Hopefully so. But that is a huge blow for their defense that has been very solid so far. But all things considered, seems like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, that offense is doing very well. That defense, we'll see how much Trey White's absence will affect that. But right now, I think they're firing all cylinders. They've got the right formula going.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I think where did you put him?
The Bills, I got them Super Bowl contender.
That's what I had written down too. So
there you go.
I completely agree.
Yep. All right. Well, we've got a team now that is actually ranked above the New Orleans Saints, although they're I still can't really get a grasp on them. It's the Atlanta Falcons. Man, I'm not sure what this team's identity really is now.
Yeah, it's a tough one. They're bleh.
I would agree. I was thinking if they're meh, they're skating on thin ice. If meh, I think bleh is more comfortable for them right now too. But they could flip things around, and maybe these next few weeks they show us something. But we shall see how the Desmond Ridder Express continues to chug along these next few weeks. But we've got a team that just absolutely cleaned house against the New York Jets on primetime Monday Night Football. We've got the Seattle Seahawks, and as of right now, I'm thinking they're a wild card team. They'll be on the outside looking in. Obviously, I think the 49ers are are the definitive number one of that division. I think the Seahawks, if they play like they keep doing, I think they're a playoff.
You said the New York Jets there. They just
Oh.
swept the. And so I thought you were really saying that about the Chiefs. I'm like, delusion. This man has delusion.
Oh man. So I pulled a fast one on you by intentionally pulling a fast one on myself there. That is awesome. All right, yes, my apologies. The correction is the New York Giants, even though, hey, it was on the same field.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's Jersey. So.
It's Jersey, exactly. It was MetLife Stadium. Yeah, the Seahawks, they were dominant in all facets of the game, offense, defense, special teams. So yeah, I could see them going in as a wild card, unless the 49ers, if they fall apart, what if they sneak in and take the top spot? You never know sometimes.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, this is a team that could use a little bit of boo-boo sauce after getting absolutely annihilated by Dallas. It's the New England Patriots, and I didn't like that it had to be Dallas, but it was actually kind of fun watching the Patriots get their stuff kicked in.
Belichick got outclassed by McCartney.
What is this madness, right?
Maybe retirement doesn't sound so bad for you, old Bill. So you're thinking trash? Because I'm thinking
man,
trash.
thinking trash. Oh man, I was thinking a healthy blab right now, but boy, trash isn't that far off. I'm thinking blab, but they're on thin ice right now. I think they're one more bad step away from trash. Because let's give the devil their due. The Cowboys are a good team, and it was at Dallas too. Dallas is firing on all cylinders, so I'll give the Patriots the benefit of the doubt. They did beat the Jets the other night, so thin ice, very thin ice.
I think you're saying that because they beat the Jets and you barely beat the Jets, and that's why you're trying to make yourself feel better. But okay, I'll give it to you.
You're blowing it, Trajan. You're blowing my cover. All right. Well, I'll let you have fun with this one too. We got the Cleveland Browns here. Very debilitating loss to the Baltimore Ravens, which I'm sure that makes you feel good. The fact that when you guys played the Browns, it was a pretty close game up until the end there, and then the Ravens just walk in and just stomp them in. Although it was the backup QB. It was the backup QB. Yeah. And no Nick Chubb.
You ready for this? Temple? I'm putting them at meh.
Wow.
I'm putting them higher than the Steelers because 3 out of the 4 games they played, their defense has been lights out.
They did have a great showing against Tennessee last week.
So I'm going to say meh right now because that last loss was with their backup QB. And who wouldn't look bad against a divisional opponent with a backup QB? I mean, that'd be a tough go for anyone. And like I said, AFC North football is usually very physical. Getting your first start, it'd be tough.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Well, we won't spend too much time on this one because we basically named everything that was good and bad about them too. The Houston Texans, actually, the entire AFC South is sitting at 2-2 right now. So I'm just gonna make the executive decision. I'm putting every AFC South team at meh right now because it'll be very interesting to see how things shake out week 8. I'm not going to put any at bleh. I'm not going to put any at playoff contender because the way things have gone so far, these 4 teams still have a little bit of stuff they got to prove to show where they truly belong, what their true identity is. So we'll speed round those 4, all of them 2-2. Which now brings to my team the Kansas City Chiefs. And as much as I would love to have them as Super Bowl contender, they have reclaimed the AFC West. I will have them at playoff contender for now, only because Broncos trash, Raiders not far away from trash, and when we get to the Chargers here in just a moment, I'll explain why. They're probably going to be on the outside looking in because of one particular person that we will discuss momentarily. But moving on to the final team in the NFC East, it is the Dallas Cowboys.
Dem boys. It would be hard not to say that they're playoff contenders. So they are playoff. What is holding the Cowboys back from being Super Bowl is because just when you think they're world beaters, they go and show you they're not. 49ers, they show you they're world beaters.
When they're healthy.
Eagles, they do. Yeah. The great teams, when they're having that great year, they show you. And this team, you just never have that faith in them.
You just know something's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Regular season, they're going to have a great record. They're going to be great. Playoffs, they do that Cardinals game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's usually against the 49ers or someone. Alrighty. Well, I guess we didn't have to wait long, but the Los Angeles Chargers, and I mentioned there is one person that is going to be the reason if they don't make the playoffs, and it's their head coach. It's going to be Brandon Staley. How many times is Justin Herbert going to bail him out of just the most mind-boggling decision-making a head coach is allowed to make? It seems like even with any wins that the Chargers get, which are sitting at 2-2, they don't deserve it. It's always some other team out-chargering the Chargers. It escapes logic and
the two wins are the Raiders and the Vikings.
Yes.
Both teams that have been blowing it this year.
And
the Raiders was against a close game against a backup QB, a rookie QB, right? No. Is he a rookie? No, this is his second year.
No.
The Raiders QB.
Aiden O'Connell. He is a rookie. He is a rookie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm going meh. And honestly, they are very, very close to being bleh in my opinion. But they're meh because they're 500, even though the only reason they're relevant is because of Justin Herbert. That's all things considered. I mean, yeah. Even with the loss of Mike Williams for the year, I mean, Justin Herbert is the thing that's carrying them on. And good God, it's I can't believe I'm saying this. I almost feel bad for them because they have to deal with that sort of decision making from their head coach. It's what wow.
What if you get swept by him this year, though?
Then we would have had the most epic collapse ever because
it's not happening. You're splitting.
It's not happening. It's like if we do split, it's because we made a dumber decision than Brandon Staley. That's the only way. That is the only way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Alrighty. Well, going back to the New York Jets here too, and I'll put them at meh. I'll put them at meh right now. Even though there's not
a 1-3 team at meh.
Not a whole lot of room left at meh for them, but if they okay, I'll say this because with Zach Wilson, if he continues to play like that, and if that defense continues to play like that, easily could see them in a wild card spot, playoff contender, which is actually what I predicted at the beginning of the season. But if we continue to see what we saw Sunday night from Zach Wilson, then I'll upgrade them. I think they'll deserve it. We may see 3 teams from the AFC East that is not the New England Patriots make the playoffs. Wouldn't that be something?
Really, a 1-3 team? Okay, I'll let you have it.
I think like I said, they lost a close one, or they won a close one to the Bills, who are the Super Bowl contenders that we agreed to.
Yeah.
They lost a close one to Kansas City, and that was Zach Wilson's best game, the defense best game. Yeah, there was the slip up with the Patriots, understandable there. But here's the deal: they're going to play the Broncos this week, and I think this is going to be their get right game. This will be their statement win against a crappy team. This is they need this game. They need to have this game this week against Denver.
All right, I'll take it.
Yep. And last but not least, probably the easiest decision ever. It is the Carolina Panthers going straight to the trash bin.
Yeah.
You know, you hate to see it for Bryce Young. You know, bright future ahead of him too, but it's not looking good for him right now. He's in that situation where he's been kind of thrown to the fire, maybe a little too early. Maybe if he had a year to sit behind, is their backup still Andy Dalton?
Yes.
That's right. Okay, maybe a year behind Andy Dalton and learn something. Might be better off, but unfortunately, there's just not a lot of hope right now for Carolina Panthers fans. So in a very winnable division, might I add, but it's not looking good for Bryce Young, at least so far.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. What?
We did it. We made it through all 32 teams.
That is our tier.
That is our tier maker, and we'll make sure we keep this up fresh in our minds come week 8. Will there be some movers, some shakers? Will there be some dropping? Will there be redemption for any of the trash teams? I highly doubt it, especially Denver. We shall definitely see as the weeks go on, and we did mention previously the opponent for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's the status on that one? Is that a noon game? Is that at Baltimore? Give us a scoop on that one.
I don't even care. No, no, it is a noon game. CBS.
Gotcha.
It's at home.
It's at home. Okay. All right. There you go.
At home before a bye week. See what we can do.
Absolutely.
Go into the bye 3-2.
Hey, there you go. Keep the positive up. Look on the bright side of life. All right, and as I mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs will be 3:30 on the road once again, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and this will be a game that's very important to Chiefs Kingdom, because if Patrick Mahomes is victorious in this game, then he will have a victory over every single NFL team since he has begun playing in the NFL. So looking forward to that.
Can't let that happen.
Can't let that happen. Kirk Cousins needs to step in, right? He needs to keep that from happening.
I will say defensively, this will be probably your toughest. You haven't really faced a team that's going to challenge your defense this much. Your offense should play good against this team. If your offense shows up like the Jets game, and your defense plays like in the Jets game, you're losing this game, buddy.
It will be interesting. It is a very high-powered offense, so we could see this being a shootout. We could see an 80-point game in this one, or maybe our defense will step up big time and the offense will finally find a rhythm and start clicking on all cylinders. It worked very well the last time we played an NFC North team, but we can't play the Chicago Bears every week, unfortunately. So. Very intriguing matchup coming into this Sunday, and we look forward to hearing from you guys down below. Which game are you looking forward to the most? I think the Sunday night game of the Cowboys versus 49ers will be a pretty fun one. I know I'll definitely be looking forward to watching that one too. A very, very strong defense versus a team that seems to be firing on all cylinders, offense and defense. So looking forward to that one too. So, but yeah, let us know down below what matchup you're looking forward to most, and let us know if we got anything wrong. What's your opinion on our tier maker this week? Are there teams that should be up higher, teams that should be down lower? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you too. And they may be by week 8. We shall see. But that is it for this week's episode. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all of your friends. And we will see you all next week for Week 5 recap.